Hey everybody, thanks for listening to the El Toro's podcast, exclusively now on Anchor.fm. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Here, let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on things like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can also make money from your podcast, which is always a plus, with no minimum listenership. And it's everything you need to make a podcast right at your fingertips and in one place. I can't believe it took me this long to switch over to Anchor.fm, but I couldn't be happier now. So, get yourself started and download the free Anchor app now, or go to Anchor.fm to get started.
Welcome everyone to episode 38 of the Capital Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Sean O'Brien. You can catch us here every Wednesday afternoon via YouTube. Just search Capital Wrestling and go to soundcloud.com/ElTorsPodcast. And we're also available on iTunes. Just catch the El Tors Podcast right there. Follow us on Twitter at Capital Wrestling without the G. Follow me on Twitter at Sean Neutron. Search for us at Capital Wrestling on Facebook and Instagram. If you have any business inquiries, sponsorships, talent that wants to be on shows, go to capitalwrestling@gmail.com. Right now, go to brownpapertickets.com and search Capital Wrestling Presents World War IV. Got the tickets on there, ticket packages. You can also go to Groupon.com and get a nice 2 for $20 deal. Every Monday night, we're live on Twitch at 7:05. Just go to twitch.tv/Capital Wrestling. We're also on GFQ, Guys from Queens, with the Matt Men podcast, gfqlive.tv. And if you want to buy any of our merchandise, go to whatamaneuver.net, prowrestlingtees.com, and now we're on amazon.com. We have the Rotunda Capital t-shirt in red, royal and heather blue, and slate and heather gray. If you have WWE 2K18, submit your creative wrestler from the Capital Wrestling roster for a chance to win tickets on December 29th. Just tweet or email it to us. So we have a lot of big things coming up on December 29th. A lot of matches have been announced, and we're also going to have a seminar that afternoon. I believe it's from... I want to say 3 to 5 p.m. And it's going to have Marcus Dowling, Brutal Bob Evans, and Lauren Patish. And it's going to be $45 each. You're going to get to learn, not only be trained by Bob Evans and learn plenty of great information from him, but you're going to learn a lot of the media and, how to be a personality kind of stuff from Marcus and Lauren. So they've got lots of years of experience between all three of them. So you're definitely not, $45 is a bargain for all three. Once again, December 29th, World War IV is coming up. And we're going to have a lot going on there. We're going to have a fun card to get to. And we're going to have the Memphis Mofo, Mark Bravura, and Bo Crockett taking on Isaiah Wolf and Hank Flanders. We're going to have a Packy Chip death match with Jeff Cannonball and Logan Black. We're going to have the Master of Excellence taking on the debuting Wildman Congo. The Capital Wrestling Champion, Ken Dixon, is going to be taking on John Kerman. We're going to get to see the Bastards versus Team Capital, and that's going to include Matthew Ryan Shapiro's debut in the ring. And we're also going to have the five-way dance for number one contendership of the Capital Wrestling Championship between Matt MacIntosh, the Colossal Mike Law, Anthony Gangone, Ryan Zane, and Leon St. Giovanni, the Human Rocket. But tonight's guest is going to be a very special one. He is the Capital Wrestling Television Champion, and none other than the Colossal Mike Law. What's up, Mike?
Hey, what's up, man? How's everything going, Sean?
Oh, doing great, man. Great to have you on here once again.
Great to be back, finally. I feel like it's been a while. I feel like it's been a while since I last came on the show. But I'm glad to be back. Very exciting, December 29th. Looks to be probably like our biggest event going into the new year, but we certainly look to end it with a bang.
Also, you have the great pleasure of being on my Twitter avatar, so making my picture look all the much better.
Yeah, I think when you have two very handsome, stunning young men in the picture, it's just going to make things that much better for everybody. It's a great visual.
It gives me lots of integrity, so I would have it no other way. But yeah, man, what have you been up to lately?
Wow, well, this past week was pretty good. I would say it was probably one of the busiest. Notably, August and December are time of the year where people go on vacation. A lot of events are not running that time frame. But again, it doesn't have to be. I mean, I pretty much had a pretty solid schedule for the year, and going to New Year it's going to get even better. But December is always that month too, because of the holidays. You know, a lot of people don't want to run because of how close it is proximity-wise to Christmas and the holidays. So, but this week alone, I know I returned to XWA Rhode Island on Friday night. That was Thursday night. On Friday, wrestled over at the Pro Wrestling New Jersey, then trekked all the way to Brooklyn for Warriors Wrestling Night 1 of the 10th anniversary show over there. And then Saturday, did perform for the ECWA over in Jersey in Woodbury Heights. And then, and of course, I am the first entrant in the 2018 Super 8. So let's not forget that. That's a huge thing for me. And then returned to Staten Island that same night over to Warriors Wrestling for Night 2 of their 10th anniversary event for a ladder match. I will say my back is pretty messed up from the ladder. That was I should have taken a picture because it was a pretty good well on the back on the it looked like if anyone wanted to play Street Fighter, just imagine the scar that he has on his front on my back. That's what it was looking like.
And that was an ECWA had recently had their debut in Atlantic City, right?
Yeah. They did it all at the Showboat Hotel. It used to be Hotel Casino, but right now they're focusing on bringing a lot of performances. ECWA exclusively being one of them. I'm telling you, man, I'll give those guys. I give all promoters all the praise in the world because it isn't easy. It really is not an easy thing to promote anything, let alone wrestling. But I'll tell you, coming off of Thanksgiving weekend, I was skeptical. I'm like, this is going to be a hard sell. It's the end of the month. It's after Thanksgiving. It's Atlantic City. It's a new venue in a new area. But I'll say that ECWA, if you look at the crowd, it was a really good crowd for their debut event, and they will be returning, I believe, in March to the Showboat in Atlantic City. I think it's going to be a smart decision. I think as far as Atlantic City needs to be rebuilt, I think if you continue to sell the fact that there's different forms of entertainment in that area, that's going to bring some fans in from the fans that have gone to online gambling.
Yeah,
there's more of an initiative really to come out to do these shows.
Yeah, I mean, and you had a match on there against Matthias Glass, and he's been making waves as of late. Just discuss being in the ring with him and what it was like, and just him as a performer.
Yeah, I mean, outside of all the controversial stuff that's gone on, in regards to the character of Matthias Glass, I would say the person who portrays that character is a hard-working, humble guy. You know what I mean? I had maybe, I want to say his first or second match ever. So even as a performer, I've seen him kind of improve on certain aspects of things that he's done. And he even knows that there are other aspects that he needs to work on in terms of the overall in-ring presence and all that. But he honestly, the guy hustles and he works hard. He's not, I can say it, I can vouch for him as a person and know that he definitely didn't take the easy way out. He pays his due on a regular basis in terms of doing what needs to be done at shows. So I can't say a bad word about that. I mean, the work ethic is there. You know what I mean? As far as the character, look, I can appreciate and admire anybody's opinion about what they believe, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm going to respect what people have to say about whether it's my character or a character of a Matthias Glass or Crazy Ivan. I remember Crazy Ivan was a thing back in the day. I mean, the stuff that he did in Jersey All Pro years ago. My gosh, you would never be able to get away with today. Never.
Yeah.
So it's times have changed. Opinions have also changed as well. At the end of the day, like I said, it's a character. You know what I mean? People are certainly entitled to what they believe. That's why again, it's one of those things where we're entitled to agree to disagree, and that's pretty much where I'm at with that. The guy, I can vouch for the guy as a person. I think, again, he works hard. He puts his best foot forward. He's a humble kid, and I think he knows that he has a lot more to learn. I mean, I know there's a lot of 2-year vets out there who grizzled vets who believe they know everything and want everyone to believe they know everything. But dude, I've been doing this for years, and I still know I don't know everything. So that's just that's the attitude I have, man. You just gotta be humble and work hard. And people are gonna say good and bad things about you, and different things about you. I ignore them and I just go forward. I'm not harming anybody. I'm not. I'm out there to put on a show for everybody. Put on the best performance, and that's just where that's where that needs to stay, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I think the gimmick itself, I'm not a fan of, and everyone has their right to either enjoy it or not. But I do believe, when you watch his videos, when you see him, in the ring and stuff like that, he's definitely got the ability. He's got the charisma. So to me, he doesn't even need that gimmick. I mean, it has separated him from other guys. It's gotten him that attention. But I just think with the abilities and talent that I can see from what I've seen before, I think he doesn't really even need that. So.
Yeah, I think, you know what, in due time, it's going to be that. It's going to come to that point where he won't need it. See, like, I remember reading, and Taz is one of the guys that I used to, watch there. I used to read all the interviews because I was a huge Taz fan, still probably am. And to me, he spoke about, like, a Spike Dudley, or the Dudleys, for example, when you had Bubba doing the stutter thing, and, who knows who that would have offended. But the thing is, like, that character after a while was needed because at that point the Dudleys had gotten so good at what they did that they could have, just slightly just transformed what they were doing. I think eventually Matthias Glass could get to that point where he could be good enough in that ring where the character will just be an afterthought and he can change that aspect. But, again, you're not going to please everybody.
Yeah.
God knows that in pro wrestling, what we do, there's been, this is by far the least, or one of the least controversial figures I've ever. If I could even tell you about the character they had in New Jersey, it was an incredibly strange wrestling. This was years ago. This was back when tape trading. There was a guy named the Abortionist. This guy come out with a hanger. That happened. But it was. You can look back in the old wrestling magazines. It really was a character. It really was. This guy, portraying this character, and to me, yeah, of course. I mean, I'm like, when I heard about it, I was only 16 years old, 17 years old. I heard about this. My jaw dropped. I'm like, oh my god, you can't. But again, it's not the least. I'm not saying it's the least, but in that, if you were to take in that perspective, there have been far more offensive characters. And people being portrayed as such, Muhammad Hassan, an Italian guy, portraying, a kind of terroristic Middle Easterner like that. That's the big boy right there. You know what I mean? So, at the end of the day, I certainly, again, I respect and understand people's perspective on things. I don't believe it should hurt this kid's opportunity to do something bigger because, again, once that he evolves as a performer and he starts to find his niche, he really probably won't even need that anymore, man. It is something to do to stand out. I get it. I now have a big barbell that I come out with, which I don't think he'll be able to fit through the curtain at Capitol on the 29th, so that's going to be a problem. But, I think a lot of people find their way of just trying to stand out from the crowd, especially when it comes to wrestling, man. There's so much talent. I say it time and time, I am not envious of any of the bookers or any of the promoters. There's so much talent out there right now. It's insane, man. And you got to, for better or worse, there are things that you may have to do to kind of stand out because just so much talent. There's, you and I talked about it. Crazy amount of talent out there.
Yeah, and it just sounds like that one idea from ISW should have been aborted from the get-go.
I mean, my gosh, I don't know what. I mean, I think with incredibly strange wrestling, that's what they were just looking for, the shock value. Look, you know, that company existed back when it was like, you know, Howard Stern. Like, I'm not to say he's not big now, but I'm saying, like, you know, like they were they wanted to do like the shock jocks in pro wrestling. They were looking to do stuff that and just to be controversial. Again, if I were to tell you some of the things that they did and matches they had, the stuff today is just so it's not even comparison. You know, like, I don't even consider them a wrestling company, but they were what they were. You know, like.
But we've seen you, you know, you're on a two fight win streak right now. I mean, you had your debut match versus the Pain Train Preston Quinn, and you lost in a good matchup against him. But ever since, you know, you had a good match against Matt MacIntosh and another one against Bo Crockett. Obviously, the quality of your matches seems to never stray from, you know, good to great. So, what do you attribute that to, and what do you feel about being on this 2-fight win streak?
I will say this: my biggest regret against Matt MacIntosh was I didn't come in the shape that I thought I should have been. Again, and then look, I can spread, you know, excuses left and right. I wasn't in the shape that I need to be against a guy like that, and I'll take full responsibility. I think next time we lock horns, it won't be the same thing. I'll certainly be in a lot better shape, or where I just want to be in terms of that. You know, with those guys, it's just stylistically. I like being in the ring with those guys because they tested me in terms of athleticism in different aspects, but also the fact stylistically they're two different guys. MacIntosh is what I consider like the new age indie wrestling, where it's like, and it's not a bad thing. It's really just high impact, hard hitting. You know, it's a fusion of a couple different aspects of pro wrestling. And again, it's just the next wave of what wrestling is changed to. Bo Crockett's more of a methodical, straight-laced punch kick, hard hitting, old school mentality kind of wrestling. Again, it's never a bad thing, and it's never meant to be in a negative light, because that's what makes wrestling great. I know that a lot of guys are like, oh, well, these guys do too many flips, and these guys do too many of that, but dude, if everybody wrestles the same, then it wouldn't be special, you know? Like, you need the hardcore, wrestling guys. You need the new wave, high spots, flip guys. Like, you need all these different aspects, because for the wrestling fan, it's amazing. It's an amazing opportunity to say, oh, I like to see that guy, because, and for wrestling promoters, the opportunity to be like, all right, well, we cater to these kind of fans. They like this type of wrestling. We cater to these type of fans. Like, if you can get that all under one roof, that to me is like a winning formula. If you can get all the different styles of like the comedy wrestlers, the straight no frills wrestlers, the high flyers, the lucha libre guys, the freaking strong style guys, the new wave indie guys. You get all those different styles under one roof. You'll have a match for different type of people that enjoy wrestling. You have your MMA fans that like the grappling stuff. I think you have to just be appreciative that there's so much talent that can do that now that you couldn't do it back in the day. That's actually a good thing. Like, guys, you have guys saying that it's a bad thing, or saying that they want things the way it used to be, but and wrestling has changed, and that evolution will continue for a very long time.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, in defense of anyone who's complaining about the flips and dives and everything, obviously I don't mind it happening. I think you just can't have a show where you have everyone doing it, whether it's the small guys, big guys. Because I've been to shows like that before, where you have like 6 or 7 matches, and in 6 and 7 of them you've had at least 1 or 2 dives. You're like, well, now it's taking the novelty out of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think, again, that goes within the pacing of the show, and that goes within the idea of, and that has to go on the promoters' end. They have to know what fits where. You build an event, and again, it's simply, a lot of companies make it very complex. Like, you got to learn how to build your event. You know what I mean? And everything has to lead to that main event. The thing is, with a lot of companies is that they say they want you to like release stuff for the main event, but a lot of times like, oh, we want you to do the best you can, or we want you to go out there and kill it. So subliminally, that's telling you, all right, well, if you want me to kill it, then I'm just going out there and do every single thing that I know how to do. Because, yes, you don't have to do that. And guys like myself know that you don't have to do everything in your repertoire to make the fans react. But to a lot of guys coming up, them saying, oh, go out there and kill it, or have the best match you can. To a lot of those guys, and I was on a trip with Sean Donovan actually recently, and we were talking about this. Big shout out to Sean Donovan, great guy, really good performer. And Steve, the ref, Steve also was a part of this trip. But we talked about how we tell a lot of guys to go up there and kill it, or have the best match you can. To them, that might be like, okay, well, I'm going to do 100 flips because that's the best match I can get. It's not like they. I don't know if it's intentional or they're subliminally telling you guys, go out there and kill yourself. Or is it have the best match you can? It can be interpreted in so many ways.
Yeah. That is, the interpretation is definitely a big thing in wrestling, whether it's fans or wrestlers themselves. Everyone's got an opinion, and people just have to respect everyone's, even if they don't agree with it.
Yeah, I mean, people have different opinions all the time. I respect it and I move on, man. I can't harp on other people's opinions of me or what I do or what so-and-so does. It's just too much to life at this point. It really is, and yeah, I can't harp on it. Maybe when I was younger, yeah, but at this point in my life, I can't do the same thing. If someone doesn't like me or doesn't like what I do, I believe me, I won't lose a microsecond of sleep over it.
No, I think even Matt MacIntosh had a tweet earlier today where he was talking about pretty much, he's made enough friends and he doesn't need any more. I mean, he's and all this kind of stuff, and that if you don't like it or don't have something he likes to say, or something he does, then you can kind of deal with it. I'm like, hey, I agree with that, man. Life's too short to be sitting here trying to please everyone.
Yeah, and then the thing is, when you're in the public eye, in any form of that, of whether it's pro wrestling or anything, you're going to have your detractors, you're going to have people like you. That's a term, that's what we signed up for, essentially, is to, when people, I'm not the other shit, there's stuff that people write about others that's just straight up malicious, man, and these are people that obviously don't have a lot going on for themselves, so they feel the need to bring others down. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, hey, well, COLOSSAL Mike Law, he's not that good. Man, bless you. If that's what you believe in, by all means. And I'm not really performing for you. I'm performing for the people that do like me. Let's move on with our lives, Look, you pay for a ticket, come make noise, have a good time. When I go to shows, even, just to support friends, it's very rare, but what I do, I'm there to have a good time, and everyone's trying to put on the best foot forward, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, exactly. Now, at the last show, we saw Ken Dixon named as the Capital Wrestling Champion by one Matthew Ryan Shapiro, who had apparently bought the title from Capital Wrestling and paid $1 more for it. And now they have formed the group with the Endgame Paul Jourdain and also the New York Wrecking Crew, and they've created the Bastards. What are your thoughts on that group and as Ken Dixon is champion?
It's hard to really, and I'm not saying anything as far as Ken Dixon, I mean, I've seen him, wrestle, and I certainly believe that he is as good as, they say he is. But I think it's hard to, let's choose my words here before. I think it's hard to really put him in the forefront as a champion. I hate the idea that somebody was given a title. And I think Ken, deep down inside, would believe the same thing, too. I don't think he's the kind of guy. He didn't seem to me, I've had very limited amount of actual interactions with the guy.
Yeah.
But to me, I don't think a guy like that who I probably feel, maybe I don't know him that well to say, but I would think a guy like that who works hard and, tries to, he gives that image of a tough guy, which I certainly think he is. I don't think a guy like that even believes that that's the way you do it, And you can take it for whether any way you want it. I do not agree with it. I think you could have done everything of your tournament. I just think I don't know, it's just a bad decision. You know what I mean? Like, everybody works hard. You have a crew of talent at Capitol. You can't tell me they couldn't, come up with a tournament or something, or I know we're doing the Fatal 5-Way for the number one contendership, but why not have, the match for that to determine who the champion was? To me, there needs to be a better way of presenting that to not only the fans, they're the customers, they're the ones that are watching this. But to the guy like a Ken Dixon, I think he would tell you himself that he's I was saying it, we'll see when he faces his opponent in the 29th, if that's the case. But I believe he's a fighting champion, and I'm sure that he's a guy that would have probably welcomed the challenge of earning it as opposed to be given,
And he'll be taking that belt and defending against John Kerman at the next show. So that'll be a very fun stylistic matchup there, and two guys who I don't recall them even wrestling before, whether there or whether in other promotions. So it should be interesting to see how those two mix it up.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Anything less than a hard hitting shoot style match, I'd be very surprised. I think those guys are gonna go and they're gonna knock it out of the park. They have a lot of competition that night as far as who other matches as far as what's gonna go on. And I think any fan who comes to the show on the 29th is going to be in for a treat. I think what I spoke about before about the different styles of wrestling will be represented very well throughout the night. I think Ken, John are certainly gonna they're gonna have to. I mean, they're the main event. They're gonna have to put their best foot forward. And I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't be envious of their spot being the main event after what Capitol is going to present on December 29th, because the fact is, those guys are going to really have to nail it and kill it, and I'm sure they will. That's the thing. I'm pretty sure that the promoters of Capitol Wrestling are confident in Ken, and certainly confident in Ken and Kerman in producing probably a top level match, which I'm excited to see.
Now, that's also going to see the in-ring debut of Matthew Ryan Shapiro as he teams with the Bastards take on Team Capitol. Sex Craze, The Perfect Strangers, the Endgame, Paul Jourdain, and the New York Reagan crew, all going to be in that one match. What do you think about Matthew Ryan Shapiro stepping foot in the ring?
Oh, man. I was never... I personally don't have anything against him, to be honest. I mean, he a lot of people are annoyed. A lot of people get annoyed by Matt. I think a lot of people think he comes off. I don't think they know he comes off as pompous, and he has the 2-year vet syndrome, where he comes off and he knows a lot more than he thinks he does. But I will say, he did get himself a good crew of guys. The Team Capitol guys are in for a very, very tough fight, man. Poor Jourdain, that dude is huge. And I'm saying, all things aside, that guy, I'm shocked. And again, I wouldn't be shocked if he gets looked at by the WWE, because he has the size, he has the good look. He's very physical. He has the making stuff that they would want.
Is he colossal though?
Oh, no, I wouldn't say that. I mean, he's a big guy, but colossal, that's another level. We're talking about, 6'7", 600 pounds. But, he's a big guy. Perfect Strangers have been, applying themselves as a team for a while now. I love to see the guys break out, man. I think they need something. Those guys need, I don't know if it's the Bastards are going to do it or bring it out of them, but those guys need something to push themselves up, because and I'm just saying this as a wrestler looking in. Like, those guys, the Perfect Strangers, have potential to be more than they are. They just have to find it, man. And I don't know if it's going to be as a team. I don't know if it's going to be as separate entities. But those guys try. They work hard. They need a little more edginess. And I think maybe the New York Wrestling Crew will be the guys to bring it out of them. Who knows? Smiley's that guy that I was telling you about, that new, kind of like indie style, super indie style of, just taking the high flying and doing some of the craziest, most innovative things I've ever seen. Like, the guy is just, like, Brian Excel, Amazing Red, the trainer of Smiley, just did a great job getting that guy assimilated with just top rope. I mean, watching that guy, you always know you're going to see something crazy. And
yeah.
That's, I'll give that to him. Him and Matt, I think, could make a fun team. I didn't see it in the beginning. I didn't see what was the whole, for a while, like, when a promotion presents their vision of a talent and what they do with them, you don't see it. And I didn't see it at first with Tech Trade. But now I'm like, oh, okay. It makes sense now,
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely a very dynamic duo there, and they both bring something very different to the game, and that's what makes them a good tag team. So I can't wait to see how they mix up with the Perfect Strangers, and it's good to see somebody like Andros back in the ring. He had an injury last time, so he couldn't step foot in the ring, but this time he's all healed up, and he'll be good to go, and him and Marcus are... they definitely have great chemistry as well, and I love seeing the progression between those two.
Yeah, again, they're gonna in this coming year, man. They're gonna. It goes back to standing out. There are there's way too much great talent out there to just settle. You know what I mean? Like, you cannot just settle in indie wrestling. If you want to go and start blowing up and getting people to notice you, you got to do things that are gonna make you stand out. And those guys right now, they're at that point where they need to do something very different to make them stand out. That's me straight up shooting, telling you exactly what I think those guys need to do, and and in order to move on or to stand out.
Yeah. Elsewhere in tag team action, we're going to have the Memphis Mofo, Mark Bravura, teaming up with Bo Crockett, representing the NRA, and they'll be taking on Isaiah Wolf and good-looking Hank Flanders. Now, Isaiah Wolf and Hank Flanders are a pretty relatively new tag team to Capital Wrestling, two young guys looking to make a mark, and Mark Bravura and Bo Crockett are trying to keep that old guard there. And what do you think about that matchup?
Oh my God, this is actually really gonna happen. I think. I mean, I hate to be like the guy that like bursts anybody's bubble, but I would be shocked if this isn't a thrashing. Like Mofo, and like I don't like Mofo, and I certainly don't like Bo either. Like, I think those two guys, are like big shit talkers. I'm not, and I'm sorry for the language, but like that's what those guys just up and down all day. But in this situation, man, it's not looking good. It's not. I'm not even gonna like sugarcoat it. This is gonna be a beatdown. If you're a fan of beatdowns, and I'm talking like uncomfortable beatdowns, like this is gonna be, this is gonna be one of them. Yeah. Sorry.
Now, we're also going to have the first ever Packy Chip Death Match, sponsored by Packy Chip. If you don't know them, they're the ones who are doing the One Chip Challenge. And we're going to see Jeff Cannonball take on Logan Black. So what are your thoughts on those two guys and the stipulation?
They tried. Okay, so Jeff hosts his own show on the YouTube channel, and they try to get me to get that. I almost choked to death on a pepper. I can't imagine what would happen if I ate one of these chips. It would probably put me in the emergency room.
Same.
I hope for Logan Black's sake he doesn't lose, because those things are like, people don't realize those things are like deadly, and they come in a coffin. Like, I don't know how much more of a warning you need. A chip, it's a one chip, guys, that comes in a coffin. Like, I mean, at that point, if I was, you better just kill me, because I don't want to deal with the pain of eating one of those things.
Now, if you're not familiar with Jeff Cannonball's YouTube show, everyone listening, he's got a show called The Flaming Table on YouTube where he eats spicy foods and has his guests indulge with him. And I think they usually have like wings, and they upgrade each one in terms of spiciness, whether it's ghost peppers, habanero, all that kind of stuff. And by the time you get to the fifth one, if you're not in tears, usually that's the guy's either tapped out or whatever. He's had a host of guys on there. And the guys who have been in death matches will even say that the spicy stuff he gives them, it rivals that in terms of intensity. So it's really a good watch. You got to go check that out. But I will say, I've seen these one-chip challenges. I saw John Kerman do it on his Instagram, and he didn't even flinch when he had that chip. So John Kerman is one tough son of a bitch.
Look, man, John Kerman at times is, and I'm not. I'd love to. I said actually step in the ring with John. I think I'd have a fantastic match with him. But John, okay, so the everyday person, you look at John, you don't look like much. You're like, he's not like a guy who's like a huge body. He's a guy who, once you see him wrestle or fight, because he is a legitimate MMA fighter, you know that this guy is legitimate and will snap most people's necks. Like he doesn't. You look at him, nice guy. You don't think much of him. I think he wears glasses sometimes, but the guy is legitimately a tough dude. And I'm not shocked that he didn't flinch. I mean, he's like the Chuck Norris of Capital Wrestling.
Yeah, no doubt. And he's tough, but also elsewhere on the card, we're going to see another tough opponent, and that's going to be the Match of Excellence. Preston Quinn, one of your former opponents, going under the mask, and he's going to be taking on the debuting Wildman Congo. So that's just a battle of two hosses. What are your thoughts on those two?
I hope it's a hard-hitting match. I think, at the end of the day, man, pro wrestling has always been about the big guys, I think, I thoroughly enjoyed facing Preston, because Preston's one of the guys who does bring it. Like, he's a hard hitter. I like to lay it in too. So it's one of those things where we just, it's a fight to see who's tougher, and it's weird the way that whole thing happens. But as far as Wildman Congo, I think he's a guy that he has a different look. He's certainly not a guy that you see in the area a lot, so it's going to be a treat for people to come see him. I don't suspect that it will be anything less than a hard-hitting match. It's always one of those things where you want to one-up each other. Okay, so let's do it. And it's just like it's like almost an unspoken thing, man. You just go in there, and it's always about who's going to be the tougher guy, especially with the heavyweights, man. Like, some of these dudes hit to kill, and I think that match is going to be one of those matches. I think those guys, again, if I'm John Kerman and I'm Ken Dixon, this is going to be one of those nights where, they're going to have to bring the very best out of each other, because they have a lot of competition.
Now, we're going to play a game here, and it's 4 stars who are not announced for the card just yet, but we're going to play a game so that you, when I name them, you think of one word to describe them.
Sure.
Joey Ace.
Potential.
Ronnie Burton.
Heavy metal.
Loud.
You want to
go? What about Joe Keys?
Colorful.
Yeah, I like that vibe he's bringing with bringing the '80s back. I love it.
Yeah, I live in Miami Vice, but I don't know. It's probably a little dated for the audience that's going to be hearing this.
He actually, when I talked to him, he said he'd never seen Miami Vice before. He knows of it, but he'd never seen an actual episode.
Oh no, lies. There's no way he had like a couple of episodes.
He said being born in 90...
that's the vibe I get from him, but
Yeah, no, he says he's being born in 93. It was a travesty from the birth gods.
I tell you, what is old is new again. So there you go.
No, and he's really killing it there, and I'm enjoying the progression of his character. But when you say Joey Ace with potential, what do you see in Joey Ace?
See, Joey, and, she's probably going to give me flack for it, but I don't really care. I know Joey. I've known Joey for a very long time. Joey should be farther along in his career than he is. And I know it's probably going to get but, he knows that, I love that guy, man. And I'm telling you that he should be farther up and doing more than he is. And I think it's just really, there's a couple factors with Joey. He is hard-headed, but he's passionate, you know what I mean? And he loves what he does. He loves wrestling, and he has a passion to be a top guy. But sometimes you got to bend a little bit. In wrestling and in any business, you kind of have to, take the good with the bad. And not everything that everyone tells you is going to be great. Not everything that everyone advises you is going to be what you want to hear. But sometimes you just got to take it, eat it, and just learn from it. And I think that's the biggest detractor sometimes. Not just with him, but with a lot of other guys. It's just that the business is changing. It's evolving. There's different things that you need now that you didn't have to do back in when even he first started. Much less when I first started. But he's a guy that when he decides, or when he gets his head together and decides to just continue to progress, he's a guy. He has a good look, man. He's a young guy still. He's younger than I am, and he can still be that guy. And so it just he has to break out from the pack, and that's the hardest thing. That's hard for me. It's hard for a lot of guys. You got to break out from the pack because you get put into that little group of guys where it's just okay, well, he's a good hand. He's a guy that we can use to do anything. But, at some point it has to be okay, no, I'm the main event guy. I'm the guy. I truly believe I am the top guy in Capital. I'm not saying it, but I've proven time and time. I literally went against a guy who was no longer with the company, is no longer even in wrestling, and made something like that come out of it. To facing a Preston Quinn, to now people are starting to pick up on the fact that Colossal Mike Law is the real deal, and it takes a while. It takes having to do a lot of BS sometimes, but you're gonna it's a progress of what we do. You're trying to always move forward, not backwards.
Okay, let's try another one. Let's try Nyla Rose.
A beast, but in all good ways. She could be a sweetheart, but she's tough, man. She will rock she will rock a lot of dudes out there, big and small, short and tall, heavyweight, light heavyweight, tough. Again, man, it just comes down to standing out, dude. We're in the professional wrestling business. It's always been about larger than life characters, whether it's guys who think they're 6'7", 635 pounds, and walk a certain way, or guys who who wear a lucha mask, or do high. There has to be something about that individual that will stand out, so that way you don't get lost in the shuffle. And believe me, you look up and down the roster, you named a bunch of matches just now. It's going to be very easy for someone to get lost in the shuffle. In Capital and in many other companies, but Capital has a very stacked roster. And we're not even talking about guys who are going to be debuting in the next couple months. There's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be part of this thing, and if you can't keep up, or don't want to keep up, or don't want to do something to stand out, your days are numbered, man. That's a fact, and it's scary. It's a scary aspect.
And last but not least, what do you think? What's the first word that comes to mind when you think of Sunny Kiss?
It's funny. I just read something about Sunny Kiss debuting in the ECWA soon. So it's funny that you mentioned that. Sunny has a great presence, very great presence. I mean, if you don't know who Sunny Kiss is, as soon as he comes through the curtain, comes out, you get a great presence, and there's a lot of great energy there. And and again, there's certain things I think Sonny can fine tune. I think he knows it, but I think at the same time, you can't deny the charisma and just the presence that Sonny has. It's truly like top level, like top level stuff that that you just can't really teach, man. Like you can't teach presence. You either have it or you kind of learn to get it. I had nothing when I first started. I was terrible in every which way, but I learned through years of just watching, learning. But I think Sonny's had it for a long time.
You either have presence or you have a Christmas tree with nothing underneath.
Man, that's it. I mean, you can't break it down any simpler than that.
Now, we're going to get to the creme de la creme, the main event for tonight's podcast, and that's going to be the match you're involved with. That's going to be the number one contendership for the Capital Wrestling Championship, the five-way dance between really good Ryan Zane, the Bad Apple Matt MacIntosh, the Wrestling God Anthony Gangone, the Human Rocket LSG, and yourself, Colossal Mike Law. What does it mean to you to be in the number one contendership match for the title?
I think it should have been the match to like, if you want to include Ken, I think it's a match that should have been the forerunner to make the heavyweight champion. And I think, not to say that Ken would have won, because, God knows I wouldn't let that happen. But I think as far as being in the ring with all these amazing talents, if you don't know that LSG is the future at this point, I don't know what to tell you. He's my cousin and all, but at the end of the day, I really have to make sure that I walk away the victor. You have to have it. Like, people can say, oh, well, Mike's not like at the left. No, man, I'm better than these guys. I have to believe I'm better than these guys, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be going where I'm going. And so the fact is, I can praise all these guys, whether it's, Anthony Gangone, who is an amazing creative genius when it comes to, offensive, his offense. You can put that out there. You can put the fact that Matt MacIntosh is definitely one of the best up-and-coming young talents that you're going to see anywhere. You can put that. Ryan Zane, you can put that, he's Ryan. You can put that out there, or you can put out that LSG is, Ring of Honor's future. You put that all out there, that's fine. At the end of the day, if I don't believe in myself, no one else will believe in me. So, as great as those guys all are, and as talented, all the talent that you have in one ring, I truly do not believe that any of them have what I have. I don't think overall they're better at anything than I am. And people it could be like, egoism speaking. Yeah, whatever, man. It's either that or confidence, and you have to have confidence. Going into this event on December 29th, this is literally like one of the last shows of the year. You damn sure bet that I'm going to go all out, and I'm going to make sure that everyone out there who goes buys a ticket remembers who I am over any of those other guys. Like, that's my goal. My goal is to win and to be the number one contender, and eventually, be a dual champion. I'm the current TV champion.
Yeah.
I'm the second title, the prestigious title at Capital. So my goal is not only to win the match and become the number one contender to the heavyweight title and facing either Kerman or Dixon, whoever walks out, but my goal is to outshine all those guys. And I know I can do it. I truly believe that this will be pretty much like the coming out party for me. This will be the opportunity to showcase that I can hang with anybody and everybody that's put in front of me. I've done it before, and this is going to be on a bigger scale.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys can do, all five of you. I've seen you all in these coming months to the show, and you guys are definitely put out some magic there. And it's one thing to have two guys in a ring, but when you get five in a ring, there's just so many different combinations of maneuvers that we could potentially see. So.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I would not. Again, it's not just putting one thing over the other, but I'll say that Ken and Kerman have a lot. The main event of that night has a lot to think about because make no mistake about it. I think everyone in that match has the goal, not only winning but just showcasing that they're the best at what they do, and that they want to create the memories, man. And and there's going to be some of the same things going on. I'm sure you're going to see stuff that you've never seen before. Some innovation. I'm sure there's going to be some big wows and what the F's and what, like there's going to be a lot of, a little bit of everything for that night, especially that match.
Now, before we get out of here, Mike, is there any plugs you like to do with merchandise, upcoming shows, social media?
Yeah, I mean, we have some upcoming shows. This week I'll be in New Jersey once again for the company is working for this is the ASCW. They have an event coming up over in New Egypt, New Jersey. So that's I've never heard of New Egypt, New Jersey, so that's interesting. I hope a lot of fans do stop by. Nunzio is going to be there, Rhett Titus. I know a lot of Grimm Toy Show fans will be there as well. Grimm will be there. You can follow me at the COLOSSAL Mike Law or at COLOSSAL Mike Law on Twitter and Instagram. It's all the same thing. I try to keep it easy. You interested in buying merch, they'll be at the event this weekend, as well as Colossal Mike Law, .bigcartel.com. So it's Colossal Mike Law, all one word, .bigcartel.com. So I always appreciate everyone. There's going to be some new merch coming out for 2018. I'm very excited about some upcoming opportunities as well.
Yeah, I'm excited for you too, man. And every time I see you doing something big, I'm always happy for you. And I know I'm just glad you could stop by in the Capital Wrestling podcast this week.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. Love, being on it. Has the utmost respect. Guys, and this is just the last final plug. The 29th of December, Capital Wrestling. I'm telling you guys, if you have not seen the Capital Wrestling show before, I implore you, come by. Watch it. You will be a fan of not only the whole setup. I mean, they have such a professional event, but also the talent. All these guys, these are talents that you don't normally get under one roof because they're coming from so many different areas that it's a treat to see some of these guys mix it up because you won't see matches. Some of the matches like your John Kerwin versus Ken Dixon, you're not going to see. Yeah. You're not going to see a five-way dance between guys from a House of Glory, from the Monster Factory or Ring of Honor, Wrestle Pro. You got all these different talents under one roof, and so that in itself is a great reason to purchase a ticket. But when you combine them all together, I mean, that's priceless.
Yeah, and once again, those tickets, I mean, you can either go to brownpapertickets.com, just search Capital Wrestling Presents World War IV, or go to Groupon.com. You have a nice 2 for $20 deal right now. There's a seminar in the afternoon before that. We got Marcus K. Dowling, Brutal Bob Evans, and Lauren Patiche. That'll be $45 each. Check out our merchandise. Go to whatamaneuver.net, prowrestlingtees.com, and amazon.com. Once again, that Rotunda Capital Tee is brand new. It's red, royal, and heather blue. Also slate and heather gray. And you can catch us every Monday night. We're live on Twitch at 7:05. Just go to twitch.tv/Capital Wrestling. And search us on Facebook and Instagram at Capital Wrestling. We're on Twitter at Capital Wrestling without the G. I'm on Twitter at Sean Neutron. And if you play WWE 2K18, submit your created wrestler from the Capital roster for a chance to win tickets on December 29th. Just tweet or email us at Capital Wrestling. So once again, everyone, I thank you all for listening to this week's episode 38 with Colossal Mike Law. Next week's episode 39 is going to see Jeff Cannonball come on, and he's got his Flaming Table YouTube show, and he's got his upcoming Package Chip Death Match with Logan Black, and plenty more to talk about. So once again, Mike, thank you for stopping by, and I can't wait to see what you do on December 29th.
Absolutely, man. Looking forward to it.
All right, guys, thank you for listening, and we'll see you here next week.